A revolution is coming and you will be a part of it. Every single thing that you have been through up until this point has prepared you for this very moment. And before you even came to this earth, you picked this time to be a catalyst for the most authentic, the most free, and the most revolutionary version of yourself. But see, all these things outside of us, they convince us to lose hope. They convince us that there is nothing that we could possibly do to shift this community, this world, back into alignment. But that's exactly how they use our power against us, by convincing us that we have none, when in reality, they need our power to fuel theirs. And so how will you be a part of this revolution? This is exactly how you'll be part of this revolution. This is exactly how you will be part of the change that is inevitably unfolding right in front of us. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. The world right now is in a contraction period. That means these overarching themes: capitalism, racism, oppression, colonialism. These overarching themes, they're bubbling to the surface and becoming pressurized, and we're beginning to see the truth. See, we may have felt like we were safer under this government or that government, or we were safer doing this or being this way, but in reality, all of these systems uphold these same oppressive themes in one way or another. And so now that these themes are bubbling up to the surface, we're stuck in this space of feeling like we must be resilient. We must be resilient. We must be resilient. Our ancestors were resilient. In reality, our ancestors were not just resilient, they were revolutionary. They created systems within themselves. They created ways to thrive in these times. They created ways to resist what was currently happening in those times. But we have to depedestalize this idea of just surviving. And we have to understand that we have the tools to thrive. Now, what are these tools to thrive? What do you have? You have a purpose. And I promise you, maybe you've seen these things online of, oh, your purpose is just to be. I promise you that is not the end of your story. Your challenges, all the things that you have grown through, your story, your voice, the vision that you have within, the things that only you can do, that is your purpose. We are all put here to be teachers. We are all put here, all of us were put here to be revolutionaries in this time. This is a very catalytic period of time on earth, and it is a blessing to be here. Because under these circumstances, a new version of us will come forward. And again, I'm going to say this again, your Ori, your higher self, knew exactly what they were signing up for when they sent your incarnation down into this 3D plane. It is not more spiritual to ignore everything that's happening. It is spiritual to be present with the emotions that are coming up. If there is fear coming up, invite it. Allow it to come forward. Face it. If there is frustration, anger coming up, allow it to come forward. Face it. But don't allow your story to end there. See through it. Every dense emotion that we feel is an invitation. It's an invitation to be the solution to whatever problem you are looking at. Your purpose is a solution to someone else's problem and to your own problems as well. I want you to understand that this is exactly what they want us to do. They want us to feel like we can't do anything. But I'm going to tell you this. A couple years ago, I had a vision and a reading. I think I was sitting on my bed, it was at night, and I decided to pull my camera up and post it on Patreon, this vision about, I'm laughing now because so many things have come to pass, but there is this vision about it being harder for us to get passports. And when I mean us, I mean people who live in the US, but of course this message applies to everybody in the world right now. It was harder for people in the US to get passports. It was harder to travel. I had a vision that people were creating underground systems, creating their own school systems, creating their own forms of currency. I had a vision that people were finding ways to live differently in a world that was seemingly oppressing them more than ever. And I thought, because this vision came to me a few years ago, I thought this had to be because of COVID, right? But sometimes when Spirit gives you a vision, not sometimes, but all the time, you don't know the timing of that vision. Spirit grants you a vision, and Spirit has granted me a vision just like how Spirit has granted you a vision, not just as a dream, but as a prophecy of what is to come. And so I want us to begin to dream as equally as we create, as I said in my last video. The dreams that you have, put them in the comments. What do you dream of? The world that you dream of, what do you dream of? Do you dream of communities that are in alignment, that are eating healthy food? Communities that are self-functioning, that don't need huge imports, that really feed themselves through growing things locally, right? Do you dream of school systems that prioritize the mind, body, and spirit? Do you dream of more safe havens for families? Do you dream of a world where we can really trust the products or the services or whatever we are receiving? How can you begin to create that? What is your specific dream? What is your specific vision? Right now is the time to start to create it. You guys are seeing me talk a lot about money blocks right now. You guys are seeing me talk a lot about love and pleasure right now because it's all connected with the revolution. Because I want to ask you a question. When it comes to your purpose, when it comes to the thing that you know you were put here on earth to do, if someone were to come to you and ask you, why aren't you living in your purpose? The answer is probably one of three things, right? One of them, I don't know how to start. Another, I don't know what resources, or I don't know where I'm going to find the resources. But a major one is also, I have obligations. I have to pay my mortgage. I have to feed my kids. We're relying on the money that these systems are giving us. But if we were to unlock all those money blocks, if we were to really see ourselves as the creators of our own money and stop pedestalizing these systems that are only handicapping us, and we start really moving as we truly are, moving as our highest selves, then we will not need these systems to rely on. We'll be able to see ourselves as the creators of our own abundance. See, it's not about the money, but it is about the inner stability. It is about the trust within yourself. It is about the acceptance of your vision. It is about your sacred yes. And when you deny yourself of your vision, you are denying yourself of inner stability and outer stability. Because let's face it, if you are receiving your stability from anything outside of yourself, then I promise you it can be taken away as easily as it was given. There is nothing that we can trust anymore but ourselves and the Creator. And when we look to God and ask God, why are you doing this? Why is this happening? God looks back to us and asks, why are you letting this happen? We are God's hands and feet. We are the Creator's action bodies. We are meant to come here and live as aspects of the Creator. The love that we wish to see in our communities, the alignment, the blessings. We give these things form, and God gives us the vision to push these things into the world. But the more that we ignore our own visions, the harder it will be for the spirit that is literally living within all of us to truly move in this world. Having hope is revolutionary, but hope is not enough. Action, organization, clear, tangible steps, that will be exactly what is going to propel us into this next era. We have to start to dream a dream bigger than what we're experiencing right now. We must start trusting in ourselves in the ways that our parents have told us that we couldn't. We must start trusting in ourselves in ways that the society doesn't want us to trust ourselves. If you are tired of these systems, if you see a problem, it is your chance right now to begin to create the solution. But the more and more you try to convince yourself that you must live within these systems, the more and more that your mind will continue to be used against you. This revolution that's happening right now, I know you feel it. You feel something changing within your system. within your heart, within your spirit. You feel something changing within your spirit. You feel that there is a major shift that is happening right now. You feel a major pivot that is happening right now. And you know it's time to stop ignoring the call. You know it's time to stop ignoring your own voice. But in order for you to really step into this, you must start to find your own inner stability, your own inner acceptance, your own inner validation. And you must start to see yourself as the creator that you actually are. This is the perfect time. If you are fearful, if you are afraid, that is okay. But we must travel with fear in our back pocket. We must travel with fear. We must travel with being afraid. Put all those things in your back pocket. It's okay. I think you're waiting. You're waiting until these things don't exist within you. You think that maybe there's going to be this perfect time and the perfect setting and the perfect place where you feel perfectly confident and perfectly ready. No, you're going to have to do it scared. We don't have time to wait anymore. You must ask yourself, what steps can you take right now in your community? You must ask yourself, how can you start to push the needle forward? You must ask yourself, what is the calling that I've always felt? What is the calling that has never stopped speaking to me? What is the voice that I've been ignoring? What is it saying? I think a lot of people, especially in the US right now too, are looking to almost run away. Oh, well, I'm just gonna move to Costa Rica. I'm gonna move to Brazil. 100%, trust me, I wanna move too. We all wanna move, right? But we have to ask ourselves, do we wanna move because we're running to something? Or do we want to move because we're running away from something? In the sacred Odus of Ifa, there is one of the primary Odus, Osa Meji. Osa Meji says that the runaway, Osa Meji says that every time we are running to something, we are simultaneously running away from something as well. And so we must look, we must turn around and face whatever we are trying to run from. It's hard because sometimes all of us, you know, some of us, most of us, many of us, we're so used to running. We're so used to trying to find the next thing. We're so used to just trying to heal from it. But you only heal and you only truly find peace by acceptance. Accepting your current conditions, not settling, not being content with, but when you accept it, and when you also accept that you're here for a reason, when you also accept that you've been placed in this body, in this space, with this fucked up family for a reason, then you start to see the seeming limitations as part of the reason why you are meant to create something huge. You will start to see the seeming limitations as part of the reason why you have been prepared. You have been prepared. You have. But it's only when, again, we find our inner stability, our inner voice, our inner power, that we will truly be able to rise in these times. But it's time to stop procrastinating. We must dream as equally as we create. There's so much more for us to become. And this is just the beginning of the catalyst. I love you and happy creating.